just be. Cast away the chains of doubt. Have the courage to be free. Don't cloud your eyes with others' lies. See only what you want to see. Just duplicate this simple truth and have the courage to be free. Open your eyes, you can fly. Open your eyes, you can fly. You can fly. You can fly. Cast away the chains of doubt. Have the courage to be free. Don't cloud your eyes with others' lies. See only what you want to see. Just duplicate this simple truth and have the courage to be free. Open your eyes, you can fly. Open your eyes, you can fly. You can fly. You can fly. Courage, love, truth. You can
Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Please stand as you're able. We will sing together, Welcome to the Mystery.
1, 2,
Welcome to the mystery. Welcome to the great I am. Welcome to the family of the living and the angel band. Welcome to all us sinners and saints. Welcome to believers and to those who ain't. Welcome to the mystery. Welcome to the family.
Well, here we are on this day in the history of the world, the first day of a new month, a new season, maybe even a new time in your life. Who knows? What a good place to begin. We're so glad that you're here at Old South Church or here with us online. And we have the audacity to believe, no, to be absolutely sure that God is glad that you're here too. Whoever you are, wherever you're going, wherever your people come from, or who you love, or what you believe, or what you're struggling to believe, or what you don't believe. Maybe you're a member of Old South Church, or maybe you're not, but you already belong here, on the threshold of something new, something fresh, something true. So, welcome to the family. Welcome to the mystery.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the mystery. Welcome to the great I am. Welcome to the family of the living and the angel band. Welcome to all us sinners and saints. Welcome to believers and to those who ain't. Welcome to the mystery. Welcome to the family.
Holy mystery, holy love. Here we are again. Here we are ready to begin again. Use this time of prayer and peace and music to spread a fresh, clean sheet of time out before us. And give us crayons of the heart to fill whatever time it turns out we've got with labors of love, with the toil of compassion, with the work of joy. We ask it in the name of all that is sacred to each of us alone and all that is holy to all of us together. And we all say, Amen.
We will sing together again, Just a Closer Walk with Thee.
Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus, if you please. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be.
Just a closer walk.
Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus, if you please. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be. Let it be, let it be, dear Lord, let it be. One more time. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be.
All right. Let's be seated. Ora et labora. To work is to pray. This is the motto of the Order of St. Benedict. And boy, does this multitasker love that idea. How great! All of my busyness, all of the never-ending to-do lists, even the laundry, all of it now counts as prayer too. But as we approach Labor Day, a federal holiday when we're encouraged to put down our labors, perhaps we should consider, could it also be said that to Sabbath is to pray, to rest is to pray? In consideration of that question, I'd like to share a story from one of my favorite collections by Gelman and DeMeo, No Lists on the Sabbath. Now, I know that you wish that you could live in the Garden of Eden. I know. Great weather, no problems, fantastic food. But believe me when I tell you that the Garden of Eden was no piece of cake, because Adam lived there. And Adam was a list maker. In fact, Adam was the worst list maker of all time. The elephant woke up one morning to find his trunk stuck through a huge leaf on which Adam had written in berry ink, "Elephant list for today. 1. Dump all the broken branches outside the garden. 2. Hose down all the dirty dishes. And 3. Squash some coconuts for lunch." The monkey woke up one morning to find a banana peel tied around his tail on which Adam had written in berry ink, "Monkey list for today. 1. Dump rotten fruit outside of garden. 2. Pick bananas for supper. 3. Don't eat the bananas for supper. Come morning, almost every animal woke up with a list. And all day long, Adam would scurry around checking up on all the animals and pestering them to see how much of their lists they had accomplished. So one day, the animals got together, and they said to God, "This guy, Adam, is such a pest. Can you please move us out of here, or maybe move him out of here?" And God said, "Wait for the Sabbath. There are no lists on the Sabbath." On the morning of the 7th day, Adam woke up bright and early to make his lists. He went to get his berry ink pot to write out a list for the elephant, but the ink was dry. "No problem," Adam said. "I will just go out and pick more berries for the inkwell." But when Adam came to the berry patch, all of the berries were gone. "I bet this is the work of the monkeys," Adam complained, "but not to worry. I will scratch out my lists for all of the animals on the sand of the beach." So Adam took a stick and started writing lists in the wet sand. But a wave came along and erased all of the lists. Adam thought this was very strange because the Garden of Eden was near a river, and he'd never before seen such a large wave on a river. So Adam sat down to rest. And he felt good just resting. And then the monkey came by. "No lists on the Sabbath," he chirped. And the elephant came by and trumpeted, "No lists on the Sabbath." And the animals all wished Adam a good day of rest. He felt good just resting. Was this perhaps the first time that Adam did something restorative for himself? Was this the first act of self-care, of self-compassion? I like to imagine that in those moments of rest, maybe Adam sat there and looked at the other animals, looked at the elephants rolling around joyfully in the mud, looked at the monkeys swinging excitedly through the trees, looked at the birds gliding peacefully through the air. And he recognized that these creatures were not put on the planet simply to check things off of lists, but that in simply living, whether working or resting, they were a blessed part of creation, part of the beauty of the garden. So perhaps this moment of rest and self-compassion led to compassion toward others. Maybe this is what the Sabbath is all about. For us to take the time to rest, offer ourselves the gift of self-care and self-compassion, but also to open our eyes to those around us who also deserve to rest, who are also worthy of compassion and love and mercy. So on this Labor Day weekend, let us examine our economy. Let us examine our workplaces through the lens of faith. We know that God's will is for each of us to live a life of wholeness. God's abundance is to be shared with all people so that we all might live full lives. Work is more than just a way to make a living. It's a form of contemporary participation in God's vision and of working together to co-create with God. Because work is so essential for the well-being of the individual, the family, the society, the dignity of work must be protected, and the basic rights of workers also protected. The right to productive work, to decent and fair wages, to safe working conditions, to organize and join unions, and the right to take a break, to rest. When we pause and keep Sabbath, we remember the undergirding of all of our work. To build a beautiful world with God is in fact a deep love of creation. So may this Labor Day open you up more to fully love yourself and open you up more fully to love the world around you. Amen.
My life has been wasted, and I've been the fool. let this manufacturer use my body as a tool. I can ride home in the evening, staring at my hands, swearing by my sorrow that a young girl ought to stand a better chance. So may I work the mills just as long as I am able, and never meet the man whose name is on the label. It be me and my machine for the rest of the morning and the rest of the afternoon and the rest of my life.
So now comes the moment when we let our hearts lean together toward the good that we desire. Our prayers are like an appetite for what's creative, what's just, what's decent and loving. And so here we are carrying them with us through the abundant field of God's love for the world and God's love for us and God's own hunger for what is good. We'll hold a minute of sweet silence together to let the breeze of the Spirit stir in the field of us. And then I'll speak a few words, and then you're invited to speak aloud any prayers that find their way into your words. I'll repeat what you say as best I can, especially if I can hear it, for the benefit of the folks online. And then I'll say, God, in your mercy, which is your cue to make each person's prayer all of our prayers by responding, hear our prayer. So let's fall into a rich silence of spirit together. Holy God, holy love, holy mystery, you know our hungers for healing and hope. You know the labors of our hearts to believe, to trust, to forgive. You know the stresses of our days and the struggles of this whole world to put itself right. You've inspired the labors of this congregation for beauty, for mercy, for justice. Lift these longings up from our hearts now. Help us to fashion prayers that can be channels of your love and instruments of your peace. Prayers on our lips that can become prayers in our limbs, prayers in our choices, prayers in our policies, prayers in our relationships. Hear us now as we speak to you in silence or in words. Prayers for Paul and for his sister Gabrielle. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For your grandkids, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For President Putin, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For the people of Ukraine, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For Catherine's Aunt Marianne, recovering from a stroke, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For teachers and administrators and bus drivers and everybody involved in the beginning of a new school year, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For Sean, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. For Carrie as she grieves, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. And for Carolyn and her husband Frank, suddenly gravely ill, God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We seal the prayers we've spoken and the prayers that lie so far beyond the reach of mere words with the sweet stillness of your presence here among us.
As we look upon this bread and this cup we use to remember and celebrate Jesus, let us also remember the hands that grew the wheat, the hands that shaped the loaf, that crushed grapes, that made the juice, that transported them and sold them to us, the hands of Alex who picked them up for us, all of the hands of so many workers who have gone to make this meal a meal of love for us. We remember on that night that Jesus gathered with his friends and broke bread with them, blessing the bread and giving thanks to God, breaking it and giving to them, saying, "Take and eat, this is my body, broken for you. Whenever you eat it, remember me." In like manner, he took the cup and giving thanks to God, blessed it and gave it to them, saying, "Take and drink, this is the new covenant poured out for you and for all, for forgiveness of sins. Whenever you drink it, remember me." Will you help me to bless these elements? Come, God, come, dive deep in these cups, twine yourself with this bread, that these good gifts from you might give us your spirit and food for the journey. Amen. The bread that I've broken contains wheat and egg. If those are not good for you, we've got a gluten-free option with Josh and Howard in the middle towards the back. Also, our cups contain only non-alcoholic grape juice, so there may be no physical barrier between you and these tastes of God's grace. If you're still not sure if you're welcome at this table, maybe you're not a member of this church or any church, maybe you're not baptized, maybe you're not even sure what you believe, well, believe this. On that night, there was one who denied Jesus, one who'd betray him, and all the rest would abandon him before the evening was out. We trust if he would eat with them, he would eat with us. So this table is open to all. All you have to be is hungry for God. We'll invite you to come forward, hand you a piece of bread, which you can dip into the cup and consume both elements together, after which you can make your way around to one of our candle lighting stations to light a candle for a prayer or just to bring some more light into the world. Come now to the feast, for all things are ready.
Speaking of giving, which we're about to do, thanks be to God for the gifts of our musicians, John Baboyan, Zoe Krona, Doug Rich, and Willie Sordillo of the Willie Sordillo Quartet. And thanks be to God, too, for our colleague Howard Kim, who tonight takes over coordinating this service from our beloved colleague Sean Fiedler, who's on his way to new adventures. Thanks to Howard for all his help, past, present, and future. And thanks be to God for you, too. Let us know that you're here, would you, by using the friendship pads, the black pads on the ends of the pews, or the chat online for those of you in other places. And we'll send you a note so that you know that we're thanking God for you. And take a moment to check out the announcements on the sheet that we handed you or on our website. And speaking of new seasons, notice that next week is our Welcome Back week. Welcome back. Hope you can be with us on Thursday or Sunday or both to watch things get started. Ah, the hungers, the planting, the field, the stirring breeze, and the harvest. Each week we have a little ingathering time here when some of the bounty of our living finds its way back into God's hands to help with the part of the work of beauty and mercy and justice that involves mere money. We play the instruments we've got, right? And God finds a way to make music of it all. So, let us freely give.
So we have a possibly familiar tune for you to sing, some words that Woody Guthrie wrote. Could you please stand as you are able? We're going to sing Union Maid.
Went to the Union Hall when a meeting it was called. union maid was wise to the tricks of company spies. She couldn't be fooled by company's tools. She'd always organize the guys. She always got her way. When she struck for better pay, she'd show her guard to the National Guard. This is what she'd say. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. Sticking to the union till the day I die. We modern union maids also are not afraid to walk the line, leave jobs behind. We're not just the ladies' aid. We fight for equal pay, and we will have our say. We're workers too, the same as you, and fight the union way. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Oh, you can't scare me. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die.
Well done, everyone. We deserve it.
Right. All right. And so let us go out, blessing the hands of all the people of the earth, the hands that plant the seed, that bind the harvest, the hands that carry the burden of life. And may we do what we can to soften the hands of the oppressor and strengthen the hands of the oppressed, until day ends and night ends, and all that is ends instead in a harmony of mutual love and justice and peace for all people. Let us go out in peace to love and serve the Lord in all we do. Amen.
Our service is over. Let our service begin. Fed by mystery, forgiven of sin. Now our faith made real. When brokenness we heal. Our service is over. Let our service begin.
That's right, the service is over and the rat race is out that way. But we have the joyful companionship of one another and some delicious snacks and even a nice space to contemplate in. So I hope you will take a moment of rest, a moment of connection, a moment of building peace in the world. May the peace of Christ be with you. Now give it away.